This is going to be really great. I have the honor of having a conversation with Jean DeRazio. This is a woman who I've worked with many times over the years, and she's like a miracle worker. She makes me look good on camera. And the thing that's really cool is she's worked with everybody from Michael Jordan uh, to actually I've got a whole list: Quincy Jones, Paula Abdul. Uh, she's incredible. And so, first of all, hey, welcome, Gene. I'm really glad you could be a part of the summit.
Thank you. I'm happy to talk to you today.
Great. Hey, so let me just start off. Look, people have a general idea of what a makeup artist does. I mean, they see people in movies, and so that it's fairly clear as to what their job description is. But before I even go into more details of how maybe you could help explain to actors and models how they can be doing some of their own makeup if it's necessary. And by the way, just on a very side note, I just want to make it really clear. If for anybody who's going to be doing a headshot or photos for a composite sheet, even if you already know how to do your own makeup, without a doubt, hire a makeup artist. It's always in your best interest. The makeup artist is going to make you look better, and you have another set of eyes watching you during the session. But one of the things that I think people would really like to know about is, how does a makeup artist actually get work? I mean, actors, we have agents, so that's pretty easy. How about for a makeup artist? How do you get work?
Well, when I started, I actually started taking pictures of the people that I worked with just on my own for my own reference, and then you start to build a portfolio with a photographer, a stylist, and you're sort of all in the same league. You build up your book, and then you try and get work. And usually I get called by photographers who maybe I've tested with, and no money was exchanged. We all did it for our own portfolios when we first were getting off the ground. So that's a great way to get some nice pictures and, not much of a cost when you're just beginning. But for the most part, word gets around. I mean, depending on where you live, I just started cold calling photographers out of the phone book, and got lucky enough to work with somebody who was on the rise, on the way up, and anytime he got a client, he would hire me as the makeup artist. So I worked with him for many years, and then your name gets out. I mean, I also have an agent in California that I get jobs. They represent people all over the country, and whenever anything's in Pennsylvania, they call me. So I get to work on People magazine shoots with them and various things. But and also reputation is so important. I'm very flexible in my job. I don't lose my temper. You're a true professional to me is someone who can have a very difficult job and they make it look easy. And everyone has confidence in a person like that. So that really helps too in this career. And work with all kinds of personalities. You have to be. I was also taught. Let me go backwards a little bit. I studied in London for a summer special effects makeup, which I do occasionally, not that often. But we were told to be invisible on the set as a stylist, as a makeup artist, hairdresser. Be invisible, and because there's so much going on, and it's really important. It's fun. It's a great thing to be on a set. It's a lot of fun, but you have to be real serious and focused. And so that's something also that enhances your reputation when you're doing a great job and flexible and all that kind of thing. And I really encourage and I think it's really important when you're starting. You go and you get your first headshot, and you have a hair and makeup person, and then you work with these various people, and you can see yourself if the makeup is good or not. You can tell. Most people know when they look good, when they look better than they normally do when they do their own makeup, and they know when they look worse. So when you find a really good makeup artist and hairstylist, ask them lots of questions. I'm flattered when people do that with me. They say, wow, I love the foundation you picked for my skin. It matches perfectly. What is that? I'd like to, have it for my own, personal when I go out, an evening out, or on a job. So we're always willing to share that with you. So ask us questions if you really like what an artist has done to your hair and makeup.
Now, Gene,
So
I was just going to ask, now you use the term stylist. Would you be able to explain exactly what a stylist does? What's the job description for a stylist?
usually it's a clothing stylist who buys clothes for a shoot, or a lot of times, commercial models will have to bring their own clothing to a shoot. They are asked to come hair and makeup ready, so that's why you have to have some kind of skills, because not everyone will have a makeup artist for you. Stylist, like I said, pick the clothing, buy clothing, or pick from what the actor or model has in their wardrobe. They are either told there's going to be clothing there for you, there's going to be hair and makeup there for you, or you have to come hair and makeup ready and bring a bunch of, like business outfits or whatever, the scene is going to be that day on the shoot. So I'm a hair and makeup artist, and then the clothing stylist deals with the clothing.
Okay, so let's say there's somebody who's just getting started and they are hired for a modeling job and they are told, you know what, we don't have a makeup artist available. It's just not in our budget.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody is used to doing, well, I guess it's mostly women who would be doing makeup on their own just for going outside of their house. I'm sure there are some guys who do that as well. Actually, my makeup is actually really good, I have to say. But, maybe I'm not like the average guy. Most CPAs walking out of their house probably aren't spending a lot of time doing makeup.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody who really doesn't have any kind of experience, can they use the same kind of technique, the same kind of makeup that they would use for, everyday use on on a set for a modeling job, or is it actually very different?
Very different depending on the medium, because your everyday look, you may want the skin to have a little glow, a little bit of a sheen, whatever, but you put that person under hot lights and they look like they have oil splashed on their face. So, so it's really important. Now, I use something, I will give you a fabulous tip, because it's one of my favorite products, because, you're putting foundation on men, women, children sometimes. I was hired for a 3-day shoot with infants 6 months old and under, and they hired me for 3 days as a makeup artist. Like,
to put makeup on infants?
Yeah, they had me there just in case an infant scratched their face and had a red mark.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they have dark circles. You never know.
Well, they're staying up late at night. You know how that works.
Yeah, right. So for lots of reasons. And I was really surprised at that I would be hired for a job like that. But you never know what's going to happen on a shoot. They could, I was on drool patrol also for that job. So it's very interesting. But and different mediums. I find for video and TV, the colors that you use are so important. They always go more to the warm, peaches, orangey tones, because I have found that blue tones in lipstick and eyeshadows, that kind of thing, turn much darker than they look when you put it on. So definitely to the warm tones for TV and video. Film is, very natural. So you can use any colors, but you can't overdo it, because it you don't want. It's depending too on the character. If you're a patient in a hospital bed, you don't want to be glamorous. You have to make them look. They still want them to be attractive, maybe, but not just very natural. So so that, and then depends on the photographer too. Different lighting techniques. I kind of work according to what I'm seeing. When they're photographing someone, if it's really shadowed, then I'll do certain things, maybe a little highlight here or there. But I do use a powder that I love and I stock up on, because I'm afraid they're going to discontinue it. MAC Cosmetics, which is based in Canada. A lot of makeup artists use MAC because they have a wide variety for anyone, and any up-and-coming commercial model, actor, actress should go into a MAC store and have their skin matched up. And when you have a comp card or are in the business and have a resume of some kind, as a model or actress, you can get 25% discount when you get your Pro card off of all their products, and they have great stuff. I get a 40% discount because I have my name in print and I'm a makeup artist.
I was just going to say, we're not doing any kind of product placement or advertising for Mac. I happen to like Mac as well, and I do use Mac. So basically, if somebody can find a Mac store in their area or a place where they sell Mac, what you're saying is that an actor or a model can go in and somebody can actually show them which colors would look best on their skin?
Yes, absolutely.
And does it go by numbers or just names, or how does that work?
Oh, they have, names, for lipsticks and lip glosses and different formulations. They have so many different foundations. I mean, they have makeup for stage, everything. They are really a great outlet for any kind of makeup that you need. But also, and then there are also huge stores that carry, like Sephora, that has tons, everybody's brand. I mean, there's so many things, and a lot of HD makeup and that kind of thing. That's also another kind of makeup that is really for the HD makeup. Really, it's very minimal. It's light because you don't see every pore with the HD screen, and so it has to be very, very sheer and light. And there's powders from MAC. They're called blotting powders. Other companies also have them. A blotting powder is great because I can put that stuff on somebody's face all day long, and it never builds up. It never looks cakey. It just gives a little bit, takes away that little bit of extra shine that you want to take away. And I love the blotting powders. I think that's good, especially if you have an even skin too.
So if somebody doesn't have access, let's just say to specifically Mac, would going into a regular large department store be an okay place to ask somebody behind the counter, or are the chances are they're really not going to have the information that you really need for makeup for for the camera?
Well, to be honest with you, because I've worked when I first started behind department store counter makeup companies, and you are taught, they put you on a 3-day class schedule, and you were taught product knowledge only, very, very little about doing makeup. So I go to another outlet for
So maybe it would be a place that specifically just sells makeup.
Exactly.
Like theatrical makeup, or a specialty place. So basically you've got to go online and do a search. And so I guess, and maybe you can tell us some of the most basic things that an actor and a model will want to learn, like putting on foundation, being able to conceal dark circles under your eyes, covering up little blemishes. I mean, are those like some of the major things that you would recommend somebody learn how to do?
The most important, because when your skin is even and smooth and you take away the dark circles and all that, you have you need just minimal makeup after that when everything is smooth and covered. So, that's really important. One little tip, too, because it's comes up quite often where, say I'm doing makeup on a gentleman, and the skin is perfect match between the face and the neck. That's really important, and you can see it as soon as the photographer starts to shoot. You can see it right away if the face is a little darker than the neck, or the neck is darker somehow. But usually it's the face darker than the neck. So, and for me, I have really leery about putting makeup on the neck, because then it gets on the collar of the shirt, it gets on a woman's dress, and you're, not going to be happy about that, because they may only have one shirt with them, and then you're trying to clean it and, all this kind of stuff. So what I do is I match the face to the neck. If they have a really white neck, but their skin is ruddy or whatever, I lighten the face to match the neck. This way I don't have to put makeup on the neck.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, hands. People forget about hands. Even if they're, they match in color, for some reason they pick up something like a redness or something around the knuckles. So I always put a little bit of some kind of powder, mostly the blotting powder, because it doesn't come off on your clothes and that kind of thing. It's just a very sheer powder, and it comes in 5 colors, the MAC blotting powder. So depending on your skin tone, I always put a little dusting of powder on the top of the hands, and it looks great. Because I always look at that when I see newscasters. The face, the neck, and the hands are 3 different colors. So so I try and avoid putting makeup on the neck for
So,
anyone.
so I guess like one of the things that would be incredibly helpful is if an actor or model gets an opportunity to be on a set, watch. I mean, this is how I learned how to do. And believe me, I'm not a makeup artist, but I can do basic, very, very basic, minimal makeup when there is no makeup artist on the set. And basically the way that I learned how to do it was by sitting and watching great makeup artists while they're doing their work. And you have to be sensitive to the situation. I mean, if if they've got like a million people in line that they have to work with, you don't want to walk over and start asking them millions of questions. But
Right.
when it's the right time, or when you're having your own makeup done,
Yeah.
then see if you can ask some questions and get some information about how to do it, what kinds of products, and like you were saying, I think it's a great idea. Ask the makeup artist what kind of numbers really match your skin tones well.
Exactly. They love to tell you too. We like to share information, and you know, uh, teach in a way. We're instructing you. You're watching that. Models look intently at the mirror when we're doing their makeup, and it's it's a great thing, because that's how. I'll give you an example. I know a couple of ex-models who've become makeup artists because they had their makeup done, thousands of times, and they know what's good makeup, and then they learn by watching so much. And a few of my friends have been former models and became makeup artists.
Now, how about as far as brushes go? Do you
Hmm.
recommend that people use brushes if they're going to be putting on foundation or powder on top of the makeup?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I use sponges initially to apply the foundation, and then, puffs to put a little bit of powder on. I use disposable mascara brushes because that's what gives you the most trouble as far as eye infections. If they're using the same brush on everyone, it's not a good idea because it's moist. The mascara, it's bacteria. Could easily form in a mascara tube. So that's something to look for. That's a sign of a professional. I mean, if somebody uses the same brush on everyone, I had heard of someone who had their makeup done by an artist who licked the eyeliner brush and then went to put it on her eye, and she was like, "Oh no!" So
And I assume that's the same if you're using those little squares or triangles, to
sponges.
sponges. Yeah, that you want to make sure those are disposable as well, and so that you're not,
Oh, yeah.
sharing that. And I guess even that holds true. And I don't know exactly how you do this, but with combs and brushes, I mean,
Hmm.
you do have to be very careful because you're working with a lot of different people.
Oh yeah, and I wash my brushes every night. Every time I finish a job, I wash my brushes with shampoo. Some of them are, animal hair and different fibers, whatever. And my brushes, I have brushes from when I studied in London that are 25 years old, and they look brand new. And that's a thing too. I have a pet peeve about not keeping a clean kit. It's I wouldn't want anyone putting dirty brushes on my face or whatever, mascara one. So, and that's a tough thing though. You're in a tough spot if you're a model or actress, to say something, but you should because
Yeah.
or if you have an allergy and you have a foundation, a Clinique, whatever, that really works for you and you don't break out from, but other things you do, bring it with you and say, gee, do you mind, if you're, ask in a nice way. I know some hair and makeup people can be a little bit have an attitude. But if you ask someone, do you mind, this really works for me, there's no problem. I never, you know, have a problem with that at all. So,
Great. So I was just going to say, just to kind of wind things up, because I know we're kind of running out of time, and I do want to be able to get to questions in case people do have them.
right.
So it sounds like really the key thing is, you want to be able to even your face out, make it smooth, be able to cover up things that should be covered up. You can do this by, going to really good places that sell, great makeup. Make sure it's makeup for the camera and just not regular makeup, and that you're talking with real professionals who know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And if you do get the opportunity, ask questions and ask as many
Yeah,
questions as you possibly can.
absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Joel, just because I know we're kind of running out of time here, are there some questions that people have for Gene?
Yeah, we have a bunch that came in, Aaron, and I just wanted to tag this. If you have questions that we don't get to right now, continue to send questions in. There'll be instructions between the sessions, and we'll try to get to some more of those at the very end of the day. Aaron's going to stick around and try to answer as many as we can at the end of the day. Okay, so let's get right into these and get through as many as we can. This is from Jim from Vancouver, Canada.
Mhm.
He asks, are you able to cover up tattoos on someone's neck and or arms if needed?
Yes, they have products. Dermablend is one. You have to go to these stores that sell multiple um, different types of makeup, and they have very thick. They're very thick creams that you can cover. And I just kind of pat it on and then put a layer of powder over, and usually it's okay. It is a problem though if it's you know, a place where maybe your sleeve or something, it might rub off. They have different formulations, but you just have to be careful about that. But yeah, no, there are plenty of products out there that cover tattoos.
Okay, great. Jill from South Carolina, is there much difference between applying makeup for fashion and commercial models and film or TV actors?
Again, it depends on who you're portraying, what type of character. But models, no, I mean it's. I use all the same makeup. I switch my kit around depending if it's real glam kind of makeup, and so I put different things in the kit. But the techniques are the same. It's just how much. For a fashion model, you might put false eyelashes. You wouldn't necessarily do that in a woman, in a supermarket, kind of thing. So, and like I said, for film and TV, definitely warm colors and not cool colors, not blues and purples and that kind of thing, because they turn much darker. I could put a pale pink lipstick on somebody and it looks 5 shades darker on the screen, for video. So you have to be careful with that.
Okay, fantastic. Nell from Ireland asks, is it hard to learn how to apply HD makeup that is sprayed on, and where would I find the equipment? You might also want to let us know, Gene, what is HD makeup?
High definition. Because we have high definition television, it shows every pore. It shows every bit of makeup on your face. So the HD makeup is much lighter, finer, and looks more natural on high definition TV. Now, there's people have also used this spray-on makeup, and the equipment. I've worked with people that use this, and it's supposed to last like 18 hours, all this kind of stuff. And it's heavy equipment. It's very noisy. It sounds like a dentist drill. It's kind of annoying. But there are some cosmetic, Makeup Forever has, an HD makeup that's in a bottle that you apply the same way with a sponge and that kind of thing. So I highly recommend that instead of the spray-on. That's more for, people that sometimes do weddings, use HD and spray-on makeup that lasts a long time. But I don't think it's necessary for individuals.
I was just going to say I've been sprayed a number of times, and it's cold when it's applied, and yeah, and Gene, you're right. It kind of sounds like a generator, is going on, and it's like this little pipe, and it just, you have to dump it in, and it squirts all over you,
Yeah.
and
It's very
it's a very different feel.
Yeah, all the equipment and everything, and the bottles and that kind of thing. So no, I don't really recommend that. But I see a question here that that I'm sorry. I see a question here that I'm very interested in answering. It's from
Absolutely.
Linda from Miami.
Yes, that was actually what I was
And
going to ask next. Go ahead. So Linda,
you know,
Linda just
and
asks, what do you recommend a model do if she doesn't like the way she looks after the makeup artist is finished working on her?
that happens a lot because some girls are just, they've worked with so many artists and they know when something's not so great. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do because you are, unfortunately, for models and actors, you know, you have to be so like on guard and very polite and nice and not offend anyone because unfortunately you're easily replaced. You know what I mean? So anybody that gets, a makeup art, I've seen makeup artists, someone says something they don't like and they go back to the client and say, oh, she's so difficult and all this kind of stuff. So you really walk a fine line there. So I would just, put a great smile on your face and work the camera and you'll look fine. There's not a whole lot you can do. But if you go in the bathroom and change it, the makeup artist is going to say something to the client. Oh, well, she's, doing her own makeup back there. And so, you really have to be diplomatic about these things. You might only be there one day, so just go with the flow. That's what I would say.
Well, the other thing is that a lot of times actors and models really don't have a clue as to what the client needs for this particular ad. And certainly, I mean, I've been in enough makeup chairs to know that, I might look in the mirror and I'm thinking, ooh, that doesn't really look great. And then when you finally see the ad, then you understand, yeah, you weren't supposed to look great. They needed a very specific look to make this ad work. So, I guess there's different ways of handling it, and certainly, trying to insinuate or accuse a makeup artist of not doing a good job is never in your best interest. And if you have a question about something, you can always ask, but just make sure you pose it in a very a friendly and non-threatening kind of way. And exactly with what Jean was saying, look, you don't want to get people really angry with you because it's word of mouth, it's repeat business, and you don't want to be viewed as the person who's the troublemaker. So anyhow, Jean, I know we have to wrap things up. I just want to thank you so much for being a part of the summit. Your information was great, and also I really look forward to working with you again in the near future.
Same here, and I wish everyone luck in their career.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jean.